Right, get some smoke. Just, I need my little hive torch. Okay, you filming?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so welcome back to Mr. Herd's Garden. Another episode of Live from the Hive. We've got some guests with us today. We've got Mr. Herd's daughter Charlotte, Mr. Herd's daughter Saskia, and they're keen to get up close and personal with the bees. What's the point of today's inspection? We're gonna give the bees some more space to store their honey. So we're adding this honey super to the hive. It's already got wax comb in there from its life in a previous hive. That means the bees will be able to concentrate on storing honey, foraging, collecting the nectar, the pollen, etc., and concentrating on filling up this super with honey, rather than putting all of their time and effort into making the comb and then having to put the honey into the comb. So that should save them a bit of time, and it should give us a better honey crop. And we're hoping to get some honey in the next few weeks. Mr. Herd tells me that there's already plenty of honey in this hive, and one thing that I will be doing today, I'll be laying a bit of a paper trail for the bees. So I will be taking some of the honey that's in the hive already, and I'll be dribbling it onto the top of this new honey super, as I say, just as a bit of an attractant to draw the bees right up through the hive to the top of the hive. Okay, right, so we're ready to open up this hive, girls. So I'm gonna give them a bit of smoke. The smoke should hopefully keep them nice and calm, and we'll start opening up the hive and continue with the inspection. Right, ready? Here we go. So, roof off, crown board, and oh, honey super! Wow, look at that. So, as you can see, we've got plenty of frames in there, and like in the other hive, where we've got a little bit of space, the bees have made their own comb. They've gone freestyle. But one thing that you can see is this is honey. Let's find. I'm gonna put that on my, and then we can dip our fingers in that once the video's finished. Right. Okay. So.
And that's the end of the episode, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Right.
AJ.
Okay. So as you can see, the bees are working away nicely here. I will have to be careful and make sure that I get this back in exactly, that's how it goes. So I'm going to put this down the side here and make sure that it goes back exactly in the same place. I'm not going to inspect that honey super. We know what's in there. It's honey. So I'm just going to separate this off. If you can hear that, where it's glued together, that's something called propolis, and it's, as I've said before, it's the bee equivalent of polyfiller glue. They are gluing everything together and keeping this hive nicely sealed up. Wow, that's it. We're right. Okay. Saskia's going to tell us how heavy this is. How heavy is that? Get your hand. Is that heavy?
Yeah.
And that is mostly honey in there. So there's a huge amount of honey in there already. So that's looking good. Here we can see more honey.
Got a little friend there.
Here we can see
Saskia.
more honey on the queen excluder, and I'm going to carefully peel this back and reveal the brood box. Okay, I'm going to take that, place that there, and here we go. So this got some smoke. That's good. So in here you can you can see the bees. This is where the queen is. This is where she's laying her eggs. And we've got a nice colony. It's expanding nicely. We've had good weather, and you know, I'm expecting to see lots of new bees, eggs, larvae, etc. So here we go. This frame is called a dummy board, so we just use the dummy board to restrict the width of the colony if we haven't got it full, the brood box full with frames. And I'm going to start taking out the first frame. Whee.
Anything in particular
well, again,
for today?
this is absolutely beautifully filled up with honey. That's that beautiful white wax, and in there, as you can see, that's all honey. So
gorgeous.
Again, if Charlotte wants to just tell us how heavy, that's quite heavy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that is all honey, really. So that's a really good start.
Is it time to start harvesting this, do you think?
I think you know, I think it was last year, the best honey that we had came just before the summer holiday started.
Yeah.
So yeah, in
2 or
3
3
weeks
weeks
time,
yep.
we should be looking to. Okay, so we've got a little mixture of things going on this frame, girls. This is honey, so this very nice white clean wax is capped over the honey. These yellow cells here are worker bees, and these cells with the raised top, the sort of torpedo top, they're the drone cells. And the reason that they're bigger is because the worker bees are the smallest, the drones are the next biggest bee in the hive, and then the queen's the largest. And actually, what you can see there, we've got something there that's called a little queen cup. So that little queen cup there, I'm going to destroy that because I don't really want them making more queens at this point. There's another one there, a little queen cup there. Okay, so lots of nice things to see on there. In fact, I can see 1 or 2 queen cups there. Right, we're going to look for the queen because the queen is marked with some green paint.
Oh yeah, I saw that last time.
So if we have a look, she's definitely not on there, is she?
No.
This doesn't look like she's on there, so I'm going to place that in there. Next frame, as you can see again, it's all glued together. I want to try and be as gentle as possible. Pull this one out. Again, really nice. Lots of. Can you see the white grubs in the bottom of the cells?
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
the new bees developing. So the queen lays an egg. After 3 days, it starts to develop into the larvae, and after 7 days, the bees cap that over, and it develops until it hatches on day 23. Have we got a queen bee on here?
Always day 23, is it?
It's always day 23. Queens only take 17 days from egg to hatching, and the drones I think are 21 days. So the workers take the longest, even though they're the smallest bee.
Is there like ever like two? So like say a queen is like born,
Yep.
and then but the other queen's still living. Would that one kill that one? Or
There's
would that one-
that's a really good question, and the answer to that is generally you get 1 queen in the hive,
Okay.
unless the bees decide to re-queen the hive and what's called supersedure, and then you can get the existing queen with the newly hatched queen, and they kind of live side by side, and that's because, as I say, the bees can determine that they need a new queen, and that's about the only time that you ever get more than 1 queen living in the hive. If you had 3 or 4 queens hatch, it's survival of the fittest. The queen bee can sting, but she only uses her sting to kill other queen bees in the kind of fight for supremacy in the hive.
Okay.
So that's a really good question. Let's. Oh, this is so stuck together. Oh, that's a really nice. So that's a really good frame of what we call brood. So nearly all of those cells there are capped over with a new worker bee developing. I don't know if you can see that really big bee there. That's a drone, and you can see it next to the smaller bee, which is a worker bee. Right, where's the queen bee? it's inevitable. Can you see that white bit there where we've pulled the frame out? That's a bee that's kind of had its cell ripped open where I've pulled that frame out, but that can't be helped, I'm afraid. Right, so she's not on there.
No sign of the queen?
Not yet. I'm sure we'll see her. She's feeling like a royal day today.
Oh, okay.
How many bees do you reckon are in this hive?
Oh, there's probably it's probably getting 10,000 at the moment, maybe, and it could go up to as many as 50,000 at the sort of best time of the year.
So
you know,
it's a needle in a haystack then, really, if we're looking at
it
one
is.
in
Don't forget
10,000.
the queen's marked. So, and we have seen her in this hive before, haven't we?
Have we?
Yeah, I think we saw her in the first episode of Live from the Hive. We saw the queen. I did find the queen. This is not a very good tool, but
The last one. So she's got a green mark.
she has got a green mark. She's not there. I mean, it's not guaranteed we'll see her. With her being marked, it just makes life a lot easier for beekeepers to spot the queen. But I haven't seen her yet, so we'll just
How did you mark her? Did you like
paint? I've got a little. It's like a marker pen, and it's paint, and you put the paint on the back of her thorax, and it should stay. It is quite durable.
so that'll be a
That's a little queen cell there. I'm just gonna destroy that. I don't really want new queen cells at the minute. He says. Let's hope we've got a queen in here.
Is the queen like always in one of these things, like what they're called again? The things that you're holding now.
The frame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she might be on the wall. So you know, there is the possibility that we could go through. Now, as a beekeeper, I'm quite happy because what I want to see is capped cells. I want to see developing eggs, the larvae, and I want to see eggs, which I've got. If I see eggs and larvae, I know the queen's been here within the last 3 or 4 days, and capped cells means the queen's been here within 7 days. So it's, you know, there are telltale signs that she's in here doing her thing, even though we haven't seen her. It would be nice to see her. I would like to, you know, even though I inspect lots of beehives, it's always an exciting moment to see the queen. Let's just pop that little queen cup off there. Pop that little queen cup off there. There she is.
Oh yeah, there she is.
Right. Okay. So here's the queen.
The dot.
Oh yeah. Oh, she's got a larger.
Yeah, she's got a larger abdomen, and that larger abdomen stops her getting through these holes in the queen excluder, which means she can't get up into our honey supers to lay eggs. So as beekeepers, that makes life really easy for us to extract the honey. So you can see the queen's going about looking in each individual cell. So her job is to lay eggs. She lays eggs all day, every day, and she's just searching around, finding empty cells and laying eggs. So that's really cool. I'm really pleased we've seen that. So I'm going to put that back in. Always need to be very careful when you're handling that frame with the queen on there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide these back from this end, and that will reduce the chances of me damaging the queen, because I just want to bring that all back together like so. So that's the inspection done, really. So I need to now put my queen excluder back on.
So do you get the honey from there, and is that the only place where you get the honey from?
Yes, because this queen excluder stops the queen coming through and laying eggs. So everything above this queen excluder in the hive will be honey. So what we're going to do?
Do you ever harvest honey from the bits that aren't that aren't?
No, it would just be really difficult because you've got honey mixed up with pollen and eggs and larvae and developing and hatching bees. So this is a really important part of the hive for a beekeeper, because we want to separate off the honey from the rest of the colony. Right, so I think that must go round that way. That looks good. So that's all back together. I think, Mr. Head, we are looking to harvest some honey from this in the next week or two, I would hope. This is our new honey super. So that's going to go back on top of that one. This is slightly different because, as we saw in one of the previous videos, if you want to come forward. So previously bees have already made this comb, but they haven't managed to fill it with honey. So what I'm hoping is this existing comb, the bees will use this to store their honey, which means they should. And there's me talking away, and to be honest, I'm going to have a bit of a problem with that. I think I'm going to leave that crown board off. I'm going to take an executive decision. I'm going to leave that crown board off, and I'm going to shake the bees off it. So you've got a choice. You can stand here and be right in the middle of the bees, or if you don't fancy that, you can take a few steps back. I'm not sure if that's a yes or a no, but anyway.
I do mind.
You don't mind? Okay.
Yeah. Why don't you take a step back?
Yeah.
So here we go. I'm just going to give this a nice, sharp, quick tap on here.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's actually fun.
Okay. And what you're going to do, you're going to hold that. You're going to hold that, and you're going to hold. Let's see if we've got a bit more. We've got some more in there. You're going to hold that. I'm going to put the hive back together. I'm going to turn that crown board over. I'm going to put that in there like so. I'll just pop that on the top. That should be fine. And I'm going to put the lid back on. I'm trying to be careful here because I don't know if you can see all these bees on the floor, Mr. Head. So these will all make their way. Oh, that's it. These will all make their way back into the hive in due course. Charlotte's going to take that. We're going to retreat back from the hive, and then we're going to watch the two girls taste the honey. So I think that's okay. So that's the inspection of the hive finished. Things are developing very nicely. We're going to get some opinions on the quality of the honey that's coming out of the hive from Charlotte and Saskia. I'm going to retreat. Right, Mr. Head. Oh, it's absolutely lovely.
Right, girls, we've got the taste test. In you go.
Oh, that's very good.
Delicious.
Wow. That is like proper honey. Oh.
Herd honey. Good stuff, right?
That's good.
Keep going.
The wax.
What you doing with the wax?
Spit it out.
Why?
This is not.
I just
Have some more.
Sticky.
I'll do some for you.
Thank you.
I don't like to feel that. I should always try that.